Hey everybody, this is Geneva of Geneva's Closet Talk Show. Please make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to Geneva's Closet if you haven't already done so right here on YouTube. And you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at what? At Geneva's Closet. And you can email me at genevascloset22@gmail.com. Now let's get into this news that we're going to talk about today. People, today I am also here. It's just not just me by myself. I am here with the activist, Miss Essie Berry, civil rights activist Essie Berry. And for those of you who don't know, she is also the widow of Fred Rerun Berry. Y'all know Fred from Pop Lockin' on the 70s hit show What's Happening? Yeah, so we have Miss Berry here with us. Hey, Miss Berry, how are you doing today?
Hey, beautiful, and how are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
First, I want to say I thank you so much for bringing things like this up to part because there's a lot of education that people don't know. I do want to tell people before we get started, which Geneva probably will say anyway, nothing is to offend anybody, nothing is to make someone go somewhere else. These are things that have already been recorded. It's just not being brought to people's knowledge. And I want to say it's time for us to start doing that. And why? If y'all go back after we do this show, you're going to see something called Brewster's Beach, what would have been Manhattan Beach. 1912, black people owned this beach, and Los Angeles and LA County took this beach from them. Today has been a historical event in California where they're giving these black people their beach back because it was supposed to be a resort. So we can't erase the past or erase history because we don't want it to be said or something to be done. And this young lady say also still to this day, people tried to stop her from helping them get their history back and help them get their property back that they were owed 1912. And they kept this property in existence for black people to go party, dance, have fun for 12 years until they illegally took it. So they're saying this is a part. It's not reparation. It is something that was already owed to this family. So when Geneva present this today about Lowe's and the things that you're going to hear, you're able to go do the research for yourself. It is not to disrespect or hurt anybody in any type of way. It is about finding the truth, presenting the truth, and bringing facts with receipts to it. Point blank, period, simple. Until then, let's get started, Geneva. I'm ready.
Yes, people, absolute mundo. So definitely want to throw that disclaimer out, like Miss Essie Berry said. I personally have nothing against Lowe's. Whatever I'm going to say about Lowe's today has really nothing to do with me, and I have nothing against Lowe's CEO, Mr. Marvin Ellison. I have nothing against Marvin. I don't even know Marvin. He's there as the CEO for Lowe's. So I just want to let you know that I have nothing against these people or this place. This is just information that I found, and this is the tech. This is basically the episodes of Geneva Closet when we do Did You Know? And we're doing a little bit of research mixed with that Did You Know? So I'm going to tell you why I even got started with this Lowe's thing. What even happened that I got started with the Lowe's thing in the first place? Well, what had happened, let me share my screen. What had happened was that don't you all remember wait, let me take Essie off the screen. Wait, is Essie still on? Wait, how do I get Essie off the screen? She's still on there. Okay. Okay, don't y'all remember in 2020 all the things that happened? So first we had the shutdown. We had the coronavirus that happened in March for us, the shutdown that took place March of 2020. Then, George Floyd was killed May 25th of 2020. With that, we had the rioting and stuff going on. A lot of people were talking about buy black. Remember, we were having the blackouts at the time. Let me see if I can find that picture. Remember, people were saying buy black. They were saying boycott different stores, boycott Home Depot. Like I said, rioting and things were going on at that time because of George Floyd. And don't you remember, even at that time, them statues and stuff that was around, and people was like, get them Confederate statues and stuff around. People were saying things about Aunt Jemima pancakes. Don't you remember? And the syrup, they was like, take Aunt Jemima off of that. And that's why to this day, if you go in the store, and I had to go and get this box to show this box of Aunt Jemima pancakes, because me and Chad went to the store the other day, right? And we were looking for pancakes. And he see this box and he pick it up and then he put it back and he was like, so what is this, some generic type of pancakes? I'm looking for Aunt Jemima. I'm like, that is it. I was like, don't you remember in 2020 when the black people was complaining, saying, take that racist stuff off the boxes? And I said, that's why she's not on the box anymore, and she's not on the syrup anymore, too. I don't even know if Uncle Ben is on that anymore. I don't even know. But all of those things was happening. Well, at that time, at this blackout time, Blackout 2020, they were saying to only shop at black stores. Now, at that time, a lot of different stores were coming out because we were doing, Black Lives Matter and all of that. And all of these stores were coming out writing these letters saying that we got your back, black people, Black Lives Matter, and we're there for you, and all of this stuff that's going on, and we're here to protect you. And then I remember at that time, even Home Depot had came out with a letter because people were talking about boycott Home Depot because they were saying that Home Depot shoppers threatened to boycott after learning that the co-founder gave millions to help elect Donald Trump, because we were having this issue with Donald Trump and stuff too, like people was just not happy about this whole situation. So then they said boycott Home Depot because of that. But then in the midst of that, somebody posted something about the CEO of Lowe's. And they said that the CEO of Lowe's was black. Oh, shoot. So then I said, oh, okay, well, since the CEO, I remember taking that article and posting it. Then I sat back and thought about it. I was like, okay, the CEO is black, but that's not the person who owns Lowe's. And that's where my research started. That's exactly where, because then I did some research on Lowe's to see where the store came from. And when I found out that they came from North Carolina, I was like, I wonder if they had some slaves of, some of the people, the Lowe family owned slaves. And that's basically where my research came from. So let me read this article to you, dated for July 5th, 2020. And the article says, Blackout Day 2020, what you need to know about the economic boycott. This is coming from complex.com. It says, as the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, and countless others have sparked a global uprising against racial injustice, protesters have revisited another avenue to push the agenda, Black capitalism. On July 7th, 2020, hashtag Blackout Day 2020 aims to unite black people in economic solidarity through a campaign encouraging partnerships to support black-owned businesses exclusively. Similar digital demonstrations throughout the years, namely hashtag Buy Black and hashtag Bank Black, were established to narrow the wealth gap and circulate resources within our own community. Leaders like Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington, and Martin Luther King Jr. championed these vehicles, black capitalism, which were the foundation for the entire prosperous black communities, including Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Jackson Ward in Richmond, Virginia, and others. Now, it says in March 2015, 3 black Tumblr users, Mars Sebastian, T-Vine Green, and Nutkirk, created the hashtag Blackout, if I said that correctly, a 24-hour digital celebration of blackness using selfies to showcase the community's beauty, pride, and history. After its inception, the online movement erupted on other social media platforms where participants posted and shared other media, gifts, videos, in addition to selfies, while the hashtag Blackout initially served as the tag. The alternative hashtag Blackout Day quickly became the word for Sebastian Green and Newkirk's new idea. So all of that was taking place where they were saying, that make sure you buy black. And then Lowe's then came out with a letter. And this is what Lowe said. Lowe's CEO, Marvin Ellison, came with a letter. And this is what he said. I'm reading from, racism, supports Black Lives Matter. Matter of fact, let me just read it on here. I don't know why I'm doing the most. I can just read it on here. He said, my wife and I feel tremendous sadness as our hearts and prayers are with the families of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and all communities ripped apart by violence. As the father of a young black male, I can only imagine their pain and emptiness. Sharing my company's message, and then the company's message said, tensions have been rising in our country for some time now. As the pandemic and economic crisis have upended lives. I'm trying to read it on my phone, people. I'm trying to read it on my phone. So too has the racism that for Lord, let me read it, find this on my phone because it's not gonna work. Let me get it on my phone right quick. Here we go, right here. And it says, I grew up in the segregated South and remember stories my parents shared about living in the Jim Crow South. During this time of Jim Crow, people of color were viewed and considered second-class citizens. So I have a personal understanding of the fear and frustration that many of you are feeling. To overcome the challenges that we all face, we must use our voices and demand that ignorance and racism must come to an end. This is a time to come together, to support one another, and through partnership, begin to heal. These times are when our character is tested and revealed. At Lowe's, we will remain committed to fostering an environment where all individuals are safe, treated fairly, valued, and respected. We are a company with zero tolerance for racism. Okay? Did you hear what I said? Okay? He said this is a company with zero tolerance for racism, discrimination, hate, insensitive behavior, or violence of any kind. At Lowe's, we are committed to helping people make their homes better. And today we recognize that our homes extend beyond our walls and into our neighborhoods, communities, and country. We take this corporate responsibility seriously, okay, people? And as we've seen through the incredible workers on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic, we can meet and overcome tragedy, but only by coming together. I know many of you may be afraid as you try to determine what to say and what to do during these trying times. With that in mind, we will be providing our leaders with resources so they can better support you and our communities. We need to remember that the best action we can take to unite in solidarity and show that the legacy of racism and inequality has no place in our company, our hearts, or in this world and scene. God bless Marvin Ellison. So that's what Marvin Ellison wrote, to let everyone know that Lowe's was not dealing with it. They not dealing with no parts of that racism. So after that, then basically I said, people, this is why I did my thing. So then I said, after that, I said, well, let me do a little research on Lowe's then and figure out what's, like how the Lowe's get started. So let's see how the Lowe's get started. Let me see right quick. Let me find the history on Lowe's and let me read this to you right quick. This one is, let's read this one. And this is from how I got I don't even know where this is coming from. It says Lowe's Retail Company, which deals in home improvement, is in the United States in the blah, blah, blah. So this is how the company got started. Founded in 1921, Lowe's was named after its founder, L.S. Lowe. And L.S. Lowe, let me see, here goes some old pictures of Lowe's back in the day, from Wilkesboro, North Carolina. I'm probably not even saying that correctly, but that's all right, people. That's quite all right. But this is the store back in the day. But the store is named after Lucius S. Lowe. That's Lucius. Lucius like on Empire, for black people, y'all watch Empire. Lucius S. Lowe. It said founded in 1921, Lowe was named after its founder, Lucius S. Lowe, born in 1879 and died in 1940, and was opened as a single hardware store in North Wilkesboro, if I'm saying that correctly, North Carolina. In its initial years, Lowe's target customers were professional contractors, and the store design of the first design of the store was very much like that of a local hardware store, a family business through and through. Lowe soon welcomed his son as well as his son-in-law in the business, because what had happened was that Lucius S. Lowe passed away in 1940. Okay, now we're about to do the research part. He passed away in 1940. When he passed away in 1940, he sold the store to he gave the store, the store was inherited, went down to his daughter, and his daughter name is Ruth Lowe. Ruth Lowe then sold the store to her brother, and her brother name is James Lowe, born 1918 to 1965. Now, Ruth Lowe was married, okay? Because Lucius Lowe had some children, but we're talking about only two of the children. We're talking about Ruth and James. Now, Ruth, if you notice her name say Ruth Lowe Buckham, because she got married, okay? Now, remember, Ruth gave the store to her brother James. James, was handling the store, whatever, but he brought on as a partner Ruth's husband, which is Carl Buckham. Nope, that's not the Carl Buckham. Henry Carl Buckham. She gave the store to Henry Carl Buckham, and this is a picture of him, and he is the one who ran the store. So now let me read to you how that went, because that was pretty interesting. Because I found something where somebody gave some details on what actually happened with this store. So this is how the story goes. It says, a few years ago, this is the kind of conversation that took place between family members, blah, blah, blah. I know that a lot of times I was boring to some family members. I have always loved the family history. I find it to be today it might be blah, blah. This is what I love about my family. It says somewhere along about 1921, Lucius S. Lowe, where he at? Lucius S. Lowe opened the Lowe's hardware store in North Wilkesboro. Lucius was the son of some people. Lucius and his wife had 3 daughters and a son. When Lucius died in 1940, he left his family business to one of his daughters named Ruth Lowe. Let me find it. My eyes went somewhere. To Ruth. Now, Ruth had plans of her own, and it did not include running a hardware store. She had her eyes set on a young man named Carl Buchan, okay? She had her eyes on Carl. Now, Carl, so she immediately sold out to her brother, Jim Lowe. So she sold the store to her brother, James, for the sum of $4,200. Now, Carl Buckham was from North Carolina, too, and at the time that he met Ruth, he was out working at a finance company in Charlotte. But by 1941, Carl and Ruth got married, and they were married. Both of them went off to the army and did certain things, but basically what ended up happening is that Carl Buckham and the brother James had opened up some other business, but Carl had a bigger idea for Lowe's. He didn't want it to be just a little hardware store anymore, because at the time Lowe's sold groceries and things like that. He seen it being more of a hardware store and to help them deal with the people. I think of World War II, because I think him and the brother James had fought in World War II, so they were looking to try to help people that were building stuff and things like that. Him and the brother kind of clashed on their ideas of Lowe's, because I think the brother wanted to kind of keep Lowe's, a little thing and focus on the other businesses that he had. Carl wanted to take it to another level. So James sold the business to Carl. So now Lowe's 100% became Carl's business. But in October 22nd, 1960, Carl died at the age of 44 years old. So that's basically what happened to Lowe's. So when I found that story out, I said, so that's what happened to Lowe's? Well, then let me do a little research then and find out, like I said, did Lowe's own any slaves? So, did the Lowe's family own any slaves? Even though we technically see that Lucius Lowe only had the store for a little bit of time, he gave it to his daughter Ruth, who then gave it to her brother James, who then ended up selling the store out to Carl. So, actually, it's a mixture between did the Lowe's own any slaves and did the Buchan family own any slaves? So, I actually checked both because you know that I would. So, let's get into the Lowe's slave thing that I found. And matter of fact, let me pull it up on this phone. Let me pull it up on this phone. And we're going to do this one. And we're going to go to this. And we're going to see what this says. This said, now, mind you, people, mind you, Wilkesboro, okay? Wills County, North Carolina. That's where most of the Lowe's family was when I did my little genealogy check, clicking back. That's where most of the family was, in North Carolina, in this area, okay? So then I found this article that I found to be pretty interesting, and it said, Will of John W.S. Lowe, Rockingham County, North Carolina, 1859, releasing 17 enslaved people. So I'm like, okay, so here go some Lowes. I'm like, so are these the same Lowe's? As part of Black History Month, I am transcribing several records to contribute to the something, the Slave Name Roll Project, and hope that my contributions will help descendants trace their families. So then I seen about this John W.S. Lowe, who owned slaves, and then look at the slaves right here on this little thing. It say John Lowe. And then you see all the black slaves male. You see practically male. You see a few female in there. And then here go another slave registry list. But then, you know, like I'm doing my own research, people, and then I'm trying to tie these people to Lucius Lowe, tie him to Ruth, tie him to James, tie him to any of their family members, any of Lucius' brothers and sisters, siblings, or anything, and I had a little difficulty doing that, but still found it very interesting. Then I found this thing, and I said, who is this Abraham Lowe? But this, I found this to be connected with the W.S. Lowe people. But then on here, when I was looking down, I don't even know if you can see it or not, it mentions on here, down here at the bottom, up under where it says 1830, and it says name Abraham Lowe at the bottom of this little paragraph thing. I don't know if you see free white slaves, free colored, then it says 6. So I don't know if they were saying that they had 6 slaves. I don't know what was going on over here, because then over here up under 1840 it says slaves 9, and then under there I didn't see anything else. So then I'm like, okay. And then even find this man, because I did research on Abraham Lowe too, to see if I can make that connection, but they all come from North Carolina. You can't tell me that these people aren't connected just because I couldn't make the connection. I think that they are connected. Here go Abraham's Lowe's headstone, which we see that he owned slaves. But also in that, so this is something that I wanted to show you. Now we're going to get into some other research that I did. Lucius Lowe. No, Lucius Smith Lowe. Lucius Smith Lowe, and then let's go to Find a Grave. Okay, so over here on Find a Grave, let's go down to the bottom. I like to do this sometimes. This is what I do when I'm researching things. So remember I told you he had 2 kids. So then here go the 2 kids. Here go Ruth. Well, he had more kids, but we're talking about Ruth and James, right? So then I clicked on Ruth. Then we went to Ruth's page. We see that she passed away in 1994 at 82 years old, and she was married to Henry Carl Buchan. Okay, remember Henry Carl is the man that ended up taking over Lowe's and ended up owning it at the end of the day. Born November 27th, 1915 in North Carolina, died October 22nd, 1960 at the tender age of 44 years old. He was really young in North Carolina. So what I did was this. I went down here and I seen who his parents was. He got a parent by the name of H. Carl Buchan. That's his daddy. So I clicked on that. Now we see that his daddy was born in 1889, all in North Carolina. Then I go down again. I said, so who was H. Carl Buchan's daddy? You know, because it's, for me, it's always about the father's line, because that's how you stick with that last name. So who was Buchan's daddy? Well, Buchan's H. Carl. So this is now the Carl Jr.'s grandfather. Jonathan Edward Buchan. So then I clicked on that. So now I wanted to know who was his daddy. He was born in 1845 in North Carolina, died in North Carolina. It says his daddy name was Archibald Buchan. I was like, interesting. Clicked on Archibald, whatever, Buchan. This is where my research really started as far as finding slaves and stuff in the family. So now we see that they say that this man was born in 1789, died April 30th, 1874 at the age of 84 or 85 in North Carolina. And even if I wanted to go down and try to figure out who his mother and father is, I don't have that information. I only have information about 2 wives that he had, Sarah and Mary, and a host of children. Now you can see 1815 is saying on here when he had his first child. 1815 is when he had his first child. So then what I ended up doing after I found that was I did my research on Archibald. And what I ended up finding on him was, oh, you know what? I didn't even take, Lord Jesus. Okay, it's over here. I ended up finding the census reports. I found this one right here. Matter of fact, let me put it just on this screen. If you see that name, Archibald Buchan. I don't even know why. Matter of fact, I think the date. Here go the date for it. This is North Carolina, August 26, 1850. Okay. So now we see on here Archibald Buchan. It says 145 male mulatto, 14 male black. If you see that, Archibald Buchan, and then you see he names 2 slaves on the side of that because as you see, this is a name of slave owners. That's what type of registry this is. This is a slave, name of slave owner. So I found that for him. But not only did I find that for him, I had found this. Now, let me see. I think I need to flip my phone for this. You see this? This is a 1860 U.S. Federal Census slave schedule with Archibald, whatever his name is, Buchan on here. And it mentions that he had a male mulatto slave that was 50 years old, born about 1810. This is 1860, Moore, North Carolina. And it says that he was a fugitive. So it said that the slave was a fugitive, which I found kind of interesting. This mulatto slave. And it said the name of the slave owner was him. Now, why I found that interesting, that it was a fugitive, because when I looked on this particular census report, for some reason, it names a lot of the mulatto slaves as fugitives, and I didn't understand what that was all about. But then we see the Buchanan man again on here with his family. Don't you remember he had 2 wives, Mary and Sarah? Well, here go to Mary, and then there go a lot of his kids right there. And then I found something else, but whatever. Basically, people, this is it right here. This is the other one that put out his full name on here, Archibald Buchan, 1850. Number of enslaved people, 2, from Moore, North Carolina. So I said, well, then on both ends, these people own slaves. So they didn't just own slaves on the low side, they owned them on the. So then I was trying to think, like, so I wonder, since one of the slaves said that they were mulatto and one of them said that they were black, I wonder if, because one of these slaves, this Archibald man, he kept with him for a long time, because in 1830 he had a slave that was listed between the age of 24 and 35. Then in 1840 between 36 and 54. But this was just like one slave. Then 1860 he had a male mulatto that was 50. They said was a fugitive, and then on another one it named the 14-year-old and the 45-year-old. So I wonder if the mulatto slave was his child or something. Like, that's what I was wondering. Like, I wonder if that slave was his child. And of course, if the slave ran away because they didn't want to be with you because he didn't like you enslaving them. But basically, my whole point of even bringing that whole part of it up was because I don't even know if Marvin Ellis have a little history on his store. So Marvin Ellis, you are the CEO. You talking about black whatever. Maybe you didn't know the history on your store, so I just gave it to you. There's a huge possibility that in North Carolina, because there's census reports, there's census sheets and everything to show that the Lowe's family owned slaves. Can I connect them to Lucius Lowe? I cannot, because I was getting tired and it was going to take me too long and I didn't want to take all that time. But can definitely pinpoint the Buchan family as far as owning slaves. So either way, Lowe's has some dealings with slaves. But we're not done yet, people. We're not done. Because then in the midst of me doing my research, which is really some information that I actually found the other day, I end up finding some information about some slave labor recently in 2018, people. Slave labor with Lowe's and Walmart. Let me find it. Let me read it to you. And U.S. floors. Have you ever heard of U.S. floors before? I thought I had a picture of them. U.S. floors, if you ain't heard. Anyway, this article is coming from PacificStandard.com, dated for March 16th, 2017. Let me get my dates right. And it says, products derived from timber extracted by workers living in conditions very close to slave labor in Brazil are connected to complex business network linked to the United States market, possibly reaching the shelves of large retailers and being used in renovation of landmarks, according to a new investigation conducted by Brazilian news outlet Reporter Brazil. After purchasing from suppliers held liable for that crime by Brazilian government, local traders exported timber to companies like U.S. Floors, which supplies the retail chain Lowe's, as well as Timber Holdings, which supplied timber for construction projects at Central Park and Brooklyn Bridge in New York. The commercial network, let's get into the conditions that these people were in. It was horrible conditions. The investigation found that Brazilian workers in the Amazon, and one thing that I'm always saying, I'm always sitting up there talking about, if we ever ran out of money, all they had to do was go to the Amazon, cut some trees down, make some money. Oh, they are over there chopping the shit down out of these trees, people. They're over there completely messing up the Amazon. The investigation found that workers slept in shacks in the forest at night in makeshift facilities made of logs removed from the forest itself and covered with tarps. There were no walls to protect them from the dangers of the forest, such as snakes, scorpions, and even jaguars. They bathed and washed their clothes in the stream shared with local animals. There was no bathroom. The workers had no formal contracts and told investigators they were paid based on their productivity. Because of the degrading accommodations and hygiene conditions found by labor ministry inspectors at the Amazon was held responsible for using slave labor in accordance with the conditions for the crime outlined in the Brazilian Criminal Code. And I read that the people didn't supply the people with the hats to put on while they chopping the woods. They didn't have the right type of things to use. They didn't have gloves to use. They just sent them people out there assed out. Wait a minute, I have another article. No, this is the same article, but I'm reading down a little bit. And it says that they had security coming up on the guys with guns, forcing them to do the work, and they were not even always paid. U.S. Floors confirmed by email that the timber purchase from TradeLink was subsequently sold to Lowe's. However, both U.S. Floors and TradeLink claim that this specific material did not come from Bonardi in this response to report of Brazil. But here go the thing right here. Don't you know that certain type of wood? I had pictures of it, but I don't even think I took the pictures and stuck it on this thing. Don't you know certain type of wood that people be getting on their floors and stuff? That's what they got these people out here chopping down and not even paying them correctly. Here we go. I got it right here. This wood. This, the people be having putting on their floors and all of that type of stuff. And we go inside Lowe's and Home Depot and we just go bad for nothing. We just want to know how much is the square footage and stuff. Well, they got people over here really dealing with nonsense, trying to make sure that we have nice floors over here in the United States. But I'm not even done there, people, because then I did some research last night that pulled this up, and that's why I'm really happy that I have Miss Essie Berry here, because when I seen this, I was like, oh, snap. And I'm going to try to read this in order. Matter of fact, let me bring this up on this phone just so y'all can see it. Just so you all know that I'm not making this up. We're going to get into this one. Lowe's Company, Inc. sued for discrimination. So this was March 24th, 2004. Now, remember what I said, that, Lowe's and, they don't tolerate none of that. They were sued for discrimination because it says the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, today announced the filing of race discrimination lawsuit under the title, the suit charges the world's second largest home improvement retailer with failing to hire a class of qualified African-American applicants due to their race at its Reload Distribution Center in Tennessee. It says that basically the EEOC lawsuit civil action says District of Knoxville Division charges that Curtis Carter, Tiffany Carter, and a class of African Americans, all qualified applicants, were denied positions in Lowe's Reload Distribution Center between 2002 and 2003 because of their race. The EEOC filed suit after exhausting its efforts to reach a voluntary pre-litigation settlement. The lawsuit asked the court to order the company to provide payback, interest on payback, compensatory damages for emotional and psychological harm, and punitive damages. I said, oh, wow. Oh, okay. Now that was in 2004. And then I found this one from 2011. And this one says, Lowe's pulls ad from TLC show about Muslims. Los Angeles, a decision by retail giant Lowe's Home Improvement to pull ads from a retail reality show about American Muslims following protests from a Christian group has sparked criticism and calls for a boycott against the chain. The retailer stopped advertising on TLC's All American Muslim after a conservative group known as the Florida Family Association complained, saying the program was propaganda that riskily hides the Islamic agenda's clear and present danger to American liberties and traditional values. The show premiered last month and chronicles the lives of 5 families from Dearborn, Michigan, a Detroit suburb with a large Muslim and Arab American population. And it says, but this is what Lowe's said, calling the Lowe's decision, no. And Lowe's came out and said, Lowe's issued a statement, managed to make some people very unhappy. Individuals and groups have strong political and societal views on this topic, and this program became a lightning rod. Okay. Became a lightning rod for many of those views, the statement said. As a result, we did pull our advertising on this program. We believe it is best to respectfully defer to communities, individuals, and groups to discuss and consider such issues of importance. Now, the thing about this is that this must have really made some people mad, because even Russell Simmons came out the woodworks and he was talking about boycott Lowe's. Where is that at? Right, people were talking about boycott Lowe's in 2011 when this article came out about them pulling down that Muslim ad. And you see Russell Simmons retweeted this. Lowe's boycott, New Jersey largest newspaper calls for a Lowe's boycott. So people were very upset about that. But then I'm basically not even done, because then after that I found this other one. Let's go to this one in 2016. And this one from 2016 says, Lowe settles disability discrimination lawsuit for $8.6 million. Okay, the Americans with Disability Act was formed with the intent of preventing employers from discriminating against employees with disabilities. And then we get into it, disabled, reasonable accommodations. The lawsuit has accused Lowe's of violating the ADA by firing or failing to provide reasonable accommodations to workers whom exceeded allowed medical leaves of absence. According to the EEOC, any company with the policy of firing workers with disabilities after medical leaves of absence reach an arbitrary limit may be in violation of the ADA. All former disabled employees of Lowe's who were terminated between January 1st, 2004 and May 13th, 2010, because they violated Lowe's leave of absence policies, is eligible for compensation from the settlement. So there was another lawsuit, but then I'm not done. Now this one is 2018. Now by 2018, Marvin Ellis is now the CEO. So 2018, Lowe's 2018, we have Lowe's Home Center to pay $55,000 to settle EEOC disability discrimination lawsuit. Lowe's Home Dallas. Now this is Lowe's Home Center LLC nationwide chain will pay $55,000 and provide other relief to settle a disability discrimination lawsuit filed by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. According to the lawsuit, Lowe's failed or refused to accommodate a department manager who was disabled because of a spinal cord injury that subsequently limits the use of his right arm. The employee was hired by Lowe's as a customer service associate in 2006 and promoted to a department manager in 2008. The company was aware of his disability at the time he was selected for promotion, and he successfully worked as a department manager for 6 years. The employee's disability prevented him from using power equipment that requires the use of 2 hands, but he delegated that task to associates under his supervision. EEOC's lawsuit claimed that in June 2015, Lowe's notified the employee that he could no longer be provided with a reasonable accommodation and demoted him to a non-supervisory associate position. As a result of the demotion, his hourly rate of pay was cut by more than $4 an hour. The EEOC alleged in this suit that the company's refusal to accommodate the department manager, a qualified individual with a disability, and subsequent decision to demote him to a lower-paying position violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. And basically, they had to pay $55,000 for that. But we ain't done, because I'm telling you, come to find out, based on research, Lowe's has been sued, and they got a lot of things going with racism, discrimination, disability. Here go another one from 2019. And this one says, Lowe's want to keep records in discrimination court case sealed. Now we're talking about sealing some records. This is dated for January 11, 2019. It says, Lowe's is trying to keep under sealed court documents related to a discrimination case filed in 2017 when an African-American former executive claimed he was wrongfully terminated by the Mooresville retailer. The federal court complaint alleges that Michael Jones, Lowe's chief custom officer, so that's the CCO, until October 2016 was unfairly pitted against a white executive in a succession plan to take over as CEO for Robert Niblock. I'll show you a picture of him later, who also is white. Although Jones improved business for Lowe's, he still received negative performance feedback, the complaint alleges. Jones also raised concerns about the company's culture, according to the complaint, particularly about inclusion and diversity, and was told by another executive that he had stuck his nose where it didn't belong. Lowe's has called the allegations unfounded and irresponsible. The suit alleges Jones is owed nearly $12.5 million in severance and other benefits, lost earnings, as well as damages for humiliation and emotional harm. But we ain't done. You think we done? No, because now we got to go to this right here about Lowe's discrimination against gay people. Because now somebody else then came out and said something. This is dated for October 29th, 2020. Discrimination lawsuit claimed Georgia Lowe's manager was out to get gay employee. This is what it says. A former worker at Lowe's in Macon, if I'm saying that correctly, is suing the home improvement giant in a sexual orientation discrimination lawsuit, which claims a manager at the store was out to get him because the employee is gay. The employee, David Sams, 53, of Bibb County, began working at the Lowe's off Eisenhower Parkway in July 2018 after transferring from a Lowe's in Houston, where he had taken a job as a sales associate in 2015. According to the lawsuit, which was filed October 15th in U.S. District Court in Macon, Sam's manager at Lowe's began discriminating against him in fall 2018 because of Sam's sexual orientation. The lawsuit further states that the manager in question, according to Sam, stated at a manager's meeting that he did not want a certain type of people, i.e. gay people, working at his store. The lawsuit goes on to mention that other managers at the store told Sam's to be careful because the manager in question was out to get him. So, yeah, and now this person, the lawsuit notes that Sam filed a complaint with the Lowe's Corporate Human Resources Department in March 2019, and that he was fired 9 days later based on the results of a customer complaint that wasn't even true. That's what he said. So, yeah, that's it. But I'm not done. We're going to take it back to 2018 again, and this one is Lowe's to pay 1.7 million in a sexual harassment. Now we got sexual harassment. So we got disability, we got some racist stuff, we got some gay stuff. Now we got some sexual harassment. But you know, the thing about it is that Lowe's is paying out. So this is not like the judge is being like unfounded, you know, throw it out. No, Lowe's is coming out the denario. They coming out the pocket. It says, when is this dated for? February 20th, 2018. Lowe's has agreed to pay $1.72 million in monetary relief to three former employees who claimed they were subjected to sexually hostile work environment in a Longview, Washington store. Oh my God, I love this juice. It's my favorite juice. Sorry, people. Favorite. The settlement was announced by the U.S. Equal Employment, the EEOC, which filed a lawsuit against the Morrisville, North Carolina retailer. It says Lowe's has denied the claims and did not admit liability as part of the settlement. It says the female worker was, it says according to the lawsuit, the three young workers, 2 men and a woman, all in their 20s, were subjected to months of verbal abuse that involved sexual references. The female worker who was also sexually assaulted by a store manager in his store, according to the allegations. When the employees complained, they were fired, according to the EEOC. So basically, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is we don't know nothing about these stores. We don't know nothing. We just take our money and we go in the stores. And a lot of the times, like, we can care less. You know, we're just going in Walmart because we need some tissue, we need some soap, okay? We're just going in Lowe's and Home Depot because I need to buy some dirt, I need some seeds, I'm trying to grow some stuff. At the end of the day, we don't always care where did they get their money from to start the business, what's really going on between them and their employees, are they treating the people correctly? We don't know these things. And, you know, I guess it's all right to not know because there's so many stores and there's so much research we would have to do. And there's been a few colleges and a few other places that we found that they were built off the backs of slaves and different things like that. But for the most part, we don't really know a lot about these stores. And let's say places like Target, for instance. We're just throw some stuff out. We know that the owner of Target name is not Bill Target, So then you got to really do some research in there and find out what his name is and where he came from. So that's all that I done did. Did you know the story that I just told you about Lowe's? Did you know that how Lowe's got started? Did you know that the Lowe family is from North Carolina, and I strongly believe that there are some slaves connected there? Did you know that Carl Buchan family owned slaves? Did Marvin Ellis even know that? I don't know. Did you know that they had many lawsuits and stuff going on? I don't know. And is it going to affect your life, your day? No, it's not. But it's interesting to know what's going on in the world that we live in. Is it or is it not? Let me bring Miss Essie Berry on up in here. I've been talking enough. Let's see what she got to say. Okay, where's she at? We're going to add her to the stream. Wait, let me take the, why is this? Oh, I'm take that out. Okay, yeah, wait, is she here? Yeah, there she goes. She's here.
I enjoyed the whole thing, Geneva. I'm just like um shocked at some of the things you had said, but not entirely in shock because of the simple fact that I know that I see discrimination every day, all day. What I can say, you had said something about mulatto, and mulatto is another form of like biracial. And back in the slavery days, instead of saying biracial, they said mulattoes. Mulatto slaves were very pertinent to white slave owners because they were mulatto, they were biracial, they could sell more kids. So they would keep the darker people out in the field, and they would bring the mulatto women up to the White House, which is the master house, the slave house, to impregnate them, to give them more mulatto children, which held more value to them in that area. So a lot of this that we're going through right now, it's already has been in existence. A lot of people just fail to talk about it, or they want to ignore it. I also saw where someone was saying that this is about hatred. No, this is about truth. This is about truth, that things that has went on with black people for the beginning of time, and no one has said anything, nor has anybody done anything about it. I really feel like that's why I became an activist, because so many things like this exist, but people are willing to shut up and don't say nothing about it. And you have to know clearly, if slavery exists, and it did exist, not only Home Depot owned slaves, everyone else that we know too owned slaves as well. And this world and this was built off of black people. So let's stop trying to like play the blame game. And we're not blaming, we're telling you what we as black people have went through from the beginning of time, from our descendants on up. And then like the day when I talked about that beach that was took from those black people weren't acquired to own anything. And they said, if you look around the world today, we are the only generation, we are the only ones that really don't buy back into ourselves, going back into ourselves. And when we did buy and gain back into ourselves, either it was destroyed, burnt up, tore down, or whatever. It was not for us to prosper for our own people when they did the bombing, you know what I'm saying? What was it? The black you know what I'm talking about, Black Wall Street, and so many other things like that. Like this beach, they took the beach because black people had nowhere to go. So they went to Bruce Beach, and they took it from them, just like they took property and land. It's not, this whole thing, you guys, is not to like discredit anybody, not make anybody feel any kind of way. But why as us as black people should have to shut up about things that we see, we know, and we've gone through, and not talk about it to educate our kids when they see it? What will happen is that they educate us about everything else that has to do supposedly with society, but they don't want us to educate ourselves about things that we know as black people in society. And some kind of way we have to do that now, because if we don't, then where will our kids grow up? And I do believe, when I was listening to Geneva talk about the guy, how he went to look for the slave and he was a fugitive. He was probably a fugitive because he wanted to keep that mulatto child, that mulatto person close to him. And sometimes white slave masters would get arrested for protecting their own. And if you guys go back and watch a show called Underground, which was a slavery movie that was produced by John Legend and several other people a couple years ago, because the white people did not like the way this slavery movie was going, because what it was happening, yeah, they was being slaves, but slaves was coming back at them like it was nobody's business. They say they didn't like the derogatory attitude that the slaves had, but you like when the masters beat the black folks and beat their kids and hang them and shit like that, right? You like that. Y'all can show all that, but you don't want to show it when black folks gonna start standing up for themselves, whether it's this generation, the next generation, the next generation to come. The things that has been tolerated in the past as black people, I know we will not tolerate them. And that is why I am an activist. And that's why I have been that for so long, because I saw these unjust moments. And just as Geneva talked about Lowe's, somebody said Home Depot and other stores, I do believe that. I'm not trying to throw CVS Pharmacy up under the bus, but that's going to come soon too. And I'm dealing with a black woman that's been discriminated against because of that. I still behind closed doors try to help people any way I can, because every day, all day, there is a black person that's being discriminated against because of the color of their skin and because you don't like what kind of hair they got on. But it doesn't stop the quality of what they can do as an individual if you allow them to. And being real, and I'm not trying to like throw no shade, but every race that's walked this earth has been to me had reparation in some kind of way, but black people, but our justice. We got to go walk the streets, or we got to sit up here and do this, or you can't do this, or we can't file a police report because we're black, or we walk across the street, you're gonna pick this dude up because he got his jeans sagging behind his butt. He shouldn't have them sagging, but that's no reason for you to pick him up. So we got to realize as black people, we need to start standing more forces as unity together, and not to be in a hostile, to educate our people, to educate us, and to us to know we value ourselves. And do I feel like the United States owe black people reparation? Hell yeah, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Because all that we already have lost and that has been taken away from black people, built on black people, taking them from their own countries, bringing them over here, and then making them into slaves. And then still today, slavery still exists if you allow it. So I'm just saying that when we bring these kind of things, I think it's important for you to know, because if you know, like I know, and I was in school, Black history was not Black history. It was a history that they wanted to teach you, not the history that was really passed down and that was truly what was going on. And we can't help who owned these slaves. We can't help anything that was done. But what we can do is try to make a change for ourselves, educate ourselves more, and don't be hostile. Don't get upset because someone's telling the truth. Just keep it politically correct, because right now, and that's why I come on here with Geneva, because ain't shit nobody from no store gonna come and say and try to make us take some down. And I know that she did what she did and she done paved the way and she's told the truth. Now, if you want to challenge that, you can come over and challenge that, but ain't no lawyer, ain't no CEO, ain't nobody gonna come on this page and say nothing politically correct, because I got my partner's back and everything that she said, and I've already seen how she does investigation. So she's going to expose it, and we're going to tell the truth. And if that means every company that walks this earth have discriminated against Black people because you didn't like something we did, or any organization, you know what? A change has come, and that change is for us to educate ourselves to make that change and stop being damn scared to say what's going to go on. Because let me keep 100%. Anything that you and y'all done seen me and Geneva say on this mic, I'll stand for it on the mic and off. 20 years later, if you see me on anything, ain't nobody will come back and say, well, Essie said this, and I meant it, I said it, and let me address it if I said it, because you can't say it's not the truth. All I say is value who you are and stay true to yourself. And if you allow someone to do the things that Lowe's has did to some of these people, or these other companies, well, they will continue to do it to you. If you start speaking up and standing for what you believe in, then things will change. Just like I told a lady who's been sexually harassed over 25 years and at this pharmacy, and they let this white boy just walk. And I need to know why. And is it going to be exposed? Of course it's going to be exposed. It is time to bring things out so they can change. Not to disrespect anybody, make anybody feel any kind of way, but for it to change. And just to look at how many lawsuits that Lowe has, maybe they need to look at their whole staff, CEO and all, and maybe change that, because whoever that is going up under, the CEO and all the people that are allowing that, if you continue to let it happen, it will happen. And the same with Tyson Food. I'm dealing with the disrespect that they show to employees, and especially the Black employees. And I had at least six people from Iowa alone that they called me about Tyson Foods and how they disrespect people. These multi-million-dollar companies are owned and pretty much slaving you on your back, and then they sit up there and get to do what they want to and how they want to you. They can only do that if you allow them to. If you stop it, it can change, but if you don't, it will remain the same.
Absolute mundo. Everything that Miss Berry said, and what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, about the I guess about whatever somebody said earlier about, I don't know, this being negative or something. Whatever. It's just research. It's nothing but good old research. You know, you don't appreciate some good old research. Obviously you do, because you clicked on, because you seen the thumbnail. You seen that title and you still said click it because you want to see what I was talking about, because you want to know about Lowe's too. Ain't nothing but good information. Like, who don't want to know? I mean, well, I'm nosy, so I'm always looking into some stuff. And then Ty said that she did a paper on Walgreens, and then that was interesting, the information that she found on Walgreens. But you talking about doing some research. I done did research on Popeyes. Don't you remember last year? I think it was last year when everybody was going crazy about the Popeyes chicken sandwiches. People was getting killed because of Popeyes chicken sandwiches. I went and did my research.
Did you buy one?
Girl, let me tell you what it is.
I ate one. I'm going to tell you what I felt. Go.
Look, it ain't even... I'm telling you that when I read some of the things that I read about Popeyes, now what it was it was some research that someone had did, I think in the 50s or the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, something like that. They did some research about Popeyes chicken and the Black community. Very interesting thesis, whatever it was, because it was long. It was many, many pages. But the different things that was brought up in this paper was very interesting, in addition to all the other information that I ended up finding based on my information about the person who started Popeyes. So don't even get me started. I mean, if y'all want me to dig into some businesses and pull some information out, I'll pull some information, but y'all know me, we not going to just be reading no articles. By the time I get done, I've been went into somebody's ancestry, and if I sit down too long, if I sit on it too long, I get too invested, then I done looked up everybody, your grandmama, your great family, all the nieces and nephews and cousins, and found all the census reports, just every census report. Like this one, I paused on. I said, I'm done. Keep looking up this Lowe thing. I already basically found what I wanted to find. I don't need to keep on, because now I'm learning how to stop doing the research, how to say that's good enough. That's what but I think that this is just really good information. I don't think this has anything to do with being negative. And I think this is really good for Marvin Ellison, because just in case he didn't know about the business that he's a CEO for, he know now. And to throw this out there just in case anybody want to know, or, I don't know if anybody want to know, they don't want to know. But just to let you know that Marvin Ellison's wife is Black. So he do got a Black wife. So she is a Black woman.
Well, all right, Barbara.
Yeah, her name is Sharon Ellison, and if I'm not mistaken, they've been married for 29, almost 30 years. So, yes. It doesn't matter, Deadpool. I want to talk about it, mijo. And if you don't like it, mijo, you could have been clicked off. Oh, but you know what?
You're always going to have, Geneva, you're always going to have that one person.
I know, my niños and dundums. But I'm not even upset about it. Deadpool seemed to be very upset about this. Like,
might be one of the slave
why you so bothered, Daddy?
He could be one of the slave owners. He could work for Lowe's. You may even work for Walmart. I mean, you got touch. That's what this does.
Like, relax.
We touch people. You got touch.
Deadpool just needs to just relax Calm down. No one is being hateful. Take a woo side. Go sit down in the corner, meditate. Go have you a drink. You smoke cigarettes?
Yeah,
Go
smoke, take
take
a
you a few
smoke,
puffs. You smoke some
Deadpool.
weed.
Go by
Go
the
hit
pool
the
and get
joint of the
that
blunt or
square.
whatever. But just relax because
We
you
still
doing the
on.
most. And there's no reason for that. We just giving history. Okay? Just like we have history books that they done gave us all through school, Geneva providing history. Take it. If you don't like it, get out the history class.
And at the
But
end of the day, out of all these comments, we know people have learned from this positive people. If you get one or two negative people, it's what it's gonna be. We expect that. And I really thank you for that because we know your opinion don't mean a dead ass thing. That part. So, y'all can we can agree to disagree for whatever reason, but it was true knowledge that Geneva brought. And she showed paperwork and she brought receipts. And y'all, it's just gonna get real deep before the end of the year. We're gonna be placing a lot of things up there, and it may piss some people off. But as my grandmother said, it's better be pissed off than pissed on. But you take your choice which one you want to be, But at this time, we're here to bring facts. We're here to bring the truth, and it was nothing derogatory because this man who's the CEO, we didn't say he ain't owned slaves. We said the company did. And why are people so mad that we talk about slaves? Because the shit existed, and we just tried to wipe it up under the rug. It's time to stop wiping things up the rug instead of stay true to yourself. That's who I've been as a civil rights activist for over the last 30 years, and that's what I'll continue to be. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. And as they say, you can't handle the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, it's okay too. But here go two black sisters that's speaking the truth and keeping it 100 to 1. And what we gonna do, since these type of subjects are so touchy, such as movies and different things that we watch, Geneva may tell you to watch when we come back and talk about it. Before 2020, this whole internet is gonna be lit up with the truth. So I suggest if you ain't trying to find out truth, go somewhere else on another blogger page and find out all the lies, because over here it's lit with the truth.
it is definitely lit. It's on and pop cracking. But anyway, people, so basically what we're going to be doing here on Geneva's Closet is I will be presenting, like I told you, videos, information that I've had in my phone for a long time that I want to get out of my phone, and I want to give it to you because I want to erase the stuff out of my phone, basically. So next week, what video next week? Probably within the next 7 days, 7-10 days, whatever. We are going to be doing this video on Marjorie. I said we were going to do it, but we hadn't done it yet. But I will be putting the thumbnail up either today or tomorrow to let you know that's the next video. We're going to be talking about this Marjorie thing. There's certain things. Look, I done brought it up, so now I need to talk about it. There's certain things that I mentioned that I know that y'all are interested about. So we're going to do the research. We're going to dig in there. We're going to find it out. We're going to Google it. We're going to pop it all up. And if y'all got any questions, that'll be your time to ask to see if maybe we can pull it up while you on here. If I see your question, maybe we can go in there and see what we can find. We can, do this thing, boo. But that is the next video. We are finally going to talk about this whole Marjorie thing. And basically, the video is going to be about Marjorie Harvey and her baby daddies and the businesses. The businesses and the baby daddies and the baby daddies and the businesses. We're going to dig all into the baby daddies, including Lori's. Who's Lori's daddy? I don't know. Who is it? Do you know? You, anybody know? Who knows? We're going to discuss that. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're going to get into these daddies. And then, like I said, then I got some other stuff we're going to be talking about too. But that's basically it, people. And see if Miss Berry got anything to say. I just wanted to come on here and deliver that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel real educated today. I feel real educated because I've learned quite a bit, and I thank you for that knowledge, Miss Geneva. And we need to go call them Pearl Woods. What is it, Pearl? What? The pancake. We need to get one. We need to get you a commercial for that. Y'all see that? Pearl Militant Company. Can we get a pancake on the box and that drink that you turned up? What was that drink? Hey, what was that drink you turned up? We need some of that right there too. Some of that aloe vera water. Can we get a commercial for that right now? That's what she quenched on when she be drinking and getting it on with her interviews and stuff. So you guys check this. We like to have fun. We like to tell the truth. And there's no use of being on this blog talking about people if you're not going to be presenting facts. And that's what this is about, presenting facts. And every week now, which we told y'all a couple months ago after Geneva moved, we kept our word. If it don't matter, we don't come up but once a week. Y'all still getting to see our faces, and we said that we were going to do that, and we'll still try to go on with the podcast as well. I also want to say that I get a lot of text messages and emails and things like that. So if you email me or Geneva, I put a number out here. You guys can text me on that number, email me on that number, and then I will get it. Also, I got a platform with Anchor. Anchor is like a radio podcast. So a lot of times, because we can't hear your story right on here, that Anchor podcast give you about 30 minutes to tell what you want to tell me. So if there's anybody who wants to come back, or we want to talk a little bit to try to put your story out there, or just hear your voice because you carried me in Geneva and followed us as your subscriber, as our subscribers, I will be more than happy to do that. But when you come to me as a civil rights activist, I'm not going to play games with you. I'm going to ask you questions like a DA or a public offender would, depending on the case. So I just want to let you guys know that we're here to make things for you guys a lot easier, and especially on the legal level. If I can do something, and remember, I see a lot of people printing articles about me and saying that I'm a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. I'm a civil rights activist. I don't want to be a lawyer. I won't be a lawyer because the lawyer can't do the shit that I can do. So I'm not going to even waste my time with that. To me, lawyers are liars, and that's not what it's about. It's about making a change, making a difference as a civil rights activist, as people in the community, and we standing together to make a humongous change. And this Lowe's video was not to make anybody seem racist or anything. It just let you know your history. And there is so many, and I went down, if every company on this earth have slaves, still deal with slaves, walk with slaves, they not going to tell you, and they're not going to tell you the hatred that they have for us. But as long as we live in our truth, you guys, to stand by what we believe and always educate ourselves and got receipts. That's why I say when I come in with Geneva, I ain't worried about nobody on this platform stepping to her, because she coming with receipts. And if she don't, I ain't worried about you stepping to her. But still, it's all about keeping it real and staying true to who you are. So I really want to thank Geneva again for bringing this to the light. About this. I'm excited about the Margie video because there's things that's going to be elaborated on there. It's not personally to go at anybody. It's just to keep it real and keep everything politically correct. We are here to agree to disagree. If you agree, okay. If you don't, okay. If you don't, okay, whatever. Because we're not here to go back and forth. We over here to make a difference so you can make a choice. And to that, I'll let Geneva take us on out, baby.
Boom, boom. And that's basically what Miss Berry had to say. That's basically how it goes. And please make sure that you like and share this video. Oh, and also make sure that you follow Essie Berry on everything at Essie Berry, and you can email her at civil rights activist essieberry@gmail.com. That's why I tried to put the thing down at the bottom with not only my information but her information. But yeah, whenever I come on here and we do this over here on Geneva's Closet, it will be because I done researched something. So just know that. It'll be because I done researched something and I'm providing information because that's just what I do and that's what I enjoy doing. And I decided to do these videos live because I just don't feel like sitting there putting the whole thing together. It just takes too long. It's just so much easier just to do it this way. But like I said, I will be putting that thumbnail up about Marjorie. That will be the next video. I'm really excited about the videos that I have to do, all this information that I want to give y'all and share with y'all and see what you think about it, because that's really what I do. I give my opinions on things. I read to you articles, because a lot of people feel that bloggers did not go to school or YouTubers did not go to school to be journalists or things like that. So we don't have the qualifications of journalists and stuff like that. Well, then, in the midst of my research, since some people feel that way, I'll pull up articles then. So I'll read you some articles that maybe you didn't know that existed, that your fellow journalists and your favorite journalists and stuff wrote to help to give credibility to the things that I'm saying, in addition to the research that I do. And if I don't know something, I have no problem with saying, just like I said about the whole Lowe thing, that I could not make the connection between the W.S. Lowe and the Lucius Lowe family. I couldn't, but I strongly believe, so that's how I will explain it to you. So I'm not telling you that for sure I know when I don't know. But I love to provide information to you that I feel like that maybe you didn't know, and then you can come up with your own conclusion of it. That's basically what we do over here at Geneva's Closet. But I really, really, really appreciate you all taking the time to listen to me today. I was going to put something up. I'm trying to see if it's there. yeah, I really enjoyed speaking to you all today. Me and Essie had a good time talking to y'all. Make sure you stay tuned for the next video that will be coming up soon. I'm trying to see if I can do something. I'm trying to see. Can I do it? I don't know. We're gonna see. Right, because I'm trying to end this a certain way, but this is my first time trying to end it like this, so we'll see. We'll see what I can do. Again, people, there go the thumbnail right there. It came and then it left. Again, people, you all have a fabulous, wonderful day. Miss Essie gonna say bye to y'all. Bye, everybody. Bye. Have a fabulous, wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week, people. Let me remove Miss Berry. She said bye. And then I'm going to see if I can play my video out. I would like to know. Yes. Am I on the stream?